What's the last word that I heard you say before you hung up the phone? Silence. Never thought that it would go this way with you. Wanted me gone. I don't believe it, no. Just last week you called me your babe, and now you're letting go. The way you're talking is driving me insane. Hello, can we sit and talk this through for once before you call off the show? 'Cause even if we're hanging by a thread, and the words you said is spinning in my head, I just wanna pull you closer in this bed. Take me back into your arms, and I'll never let you down. Ooh. Take me back into your arms, and I'll never let you down. Take me back into your arms, and I'll never let you down. Tell me, can we meet up at your place tonight, honey? I'm coming over, yeah, you know me. I would give up anything for you. You say it, you know I'll do it, yeah. I don't believe it, no. Just last week you called me your babe, and now you're letting go. The way you're talking is driving me insane. Hello, can we sit and talk this through for once before you call off the show? 'Cause even if we're hanging by a thread, and the words you said is spinning in my head, I just wanna pull you closer in this bed. Take me back into your arms, and I'll never let you down. Ooh. Take me back into your arms, and I'll never let you down. Ooh. Take me back into your arms, and I'll never let you down. Ooh.
All right. As usual, it's a day. You know, it's one of those things. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you very much, Raiders, for coming on in. I think I accidentally hid the Hangman in here. Just give me a shake to get that one on this screen, because I thought I had it. X Games. Are you? That's odd. I thought text games should be on this screen. Don't know. That in here. Try that. Okay. We're here. For what it's worth. We're here. Alright, so camera's being a little bit weird. As you can see, you know, we've got all kinds of strange autofocus issues, but we're going to go with it nonetheless. Give it a try. And I'm just going to try to get another screen of chat so I can see what's going on, because the one I usually use is a bit chaotic. This week we are working on... Oh, I tossed the box. Shame on me. See on the screen there, we are working on the Cho Chang and Harry Potter brick heads. We've got Cho Chang done. Done and dusted. So we're going to go with that. Aha, that's what I wanted. Okay. Drop the sharpness down on this a little bit because it looks really dumb. Yes, it's a bit fuzzy. I know it's a bit strange. It doesn't have much to focus on, so I'm just going to kill the brightness a bit more. Try that. Exposure would be better, but, you know, things happen. Alright, we'll go with this, and we'll fake it till you make it, right? Because for some reason, the programs that are controlling my camera are just not today. Life's like that. Alright, so today we're moving... Oh, come on. Okay, we're moving on to the Harry Potter figure. So I'm going to start this. Let's go in, build again. It thinks I'm done because I did the second one first. So we're going to build Harry Potter first. And this one's done in a PDF format, unfortunately. It's not one of the cool twisty-turny variety. So we can just jump on in. And we'll get straight to it. Oh, for sure. You can definitely shout out local, no problem. I'm not entirely sure what's up there. It's an old comment. But Local Brick Shop is the other one I follow when I'm doing Lego stuff. And I forgot that the screen I'm looking at doesn't clear chat the way I had expected. The main OBS screen does, but the bot one doesn't. You know, this is going to be cute. I don't know. Don't know about cute. We'll see. Let's see. I'll see about the camera zooming distance because it's a little fuzzy at the moment. So you can get out. Oh, well, no wonder. I'm like crazy far in. That would explain a lot. Let's try that. You guys won't get to see quite so close up, but I don't think it's a big deal. All right. And once again, I changed my camera mounts, but it still does this. So we have some fun with that. I won't bang the table that hard all that often. I am aware. I am aware of the bad coloring of Hangman in behind with this particular playmat. It's not great. Not much we can do about that, I'm afraid. The other option is to go with the black mat that's underneath this, but the problem with doing that with the black mat is that we, as you can see, we have black parts, so that's kind of dumb. The other build we have for the day does not appear to have a ton of black parts, so maybe we'll switch mats at that point. You can solve Hangman, maybe. Maybe, kinda, sorta. I got an idea. There we go. Let's throw that right down there. It tells me, don't build there. That's actually one of those little, like, cleaning cloths for your phone screen. And the autofocus is toast. That's just the way it goes, I suppose. Let's see where it is. Overhead. Properties. Can you cooperate? Maybe. No, it cannot. Why? Fly again, please. Nope, that's not. Alright, well. Try something real quick and then we'll come back. Deactivate this, activate that. Apparently not. Weird. Weird. That camera was fine. Now it's not. Oh well. We will do our best. That's all I can ask for, right? Alright, so first things first. We could sort, you know, what's the point? We'll see how far we get on this one. I think I might have to sort the next box, depending on how much hunting I'm doing here. That's one thing that does slow you down. But front and center, ooh, that is awful. That's white balance. I don't want that. That's not what I want. Does not like exposure. Interesting. Okay. See if I can play with. We're gonna get super bright for a minute or two and try to kick the exposure down. See? Why? Oh, try again. Like that.
Oh, hello
Guess not.
there.
Guess not. We have problems with cameras because, suffice to say, I had two cameras in there that are the same brand, and the same model, same brand, and the system really is not like that. And I'm not in the slightest sure why. You know, it is what it is. That's okay. It happens. Alright, so let's get to it. We've got this one to start, and then it goes with a cross piece. 1, 2, 3. And let's go to the next page. Oops, skipped a spot. No, I didn't. Get 2 of these. So, I could roll back, but unfortunately due to Hangman, I am unaware of all of the kind names that came in, but I want to say thank you very much to Tom for the raid. I appreciate it. Never expected, or sorry, never acquired, and even now, never expected. But it's always a pleasure to have raiders come in when they can. If you are unfamiliar with me, I am Dylan the Disorganized. There you go. That's a very good descriptor, actually. And we are on Mondays doing some sort of making thing. I prefer doing Lego when I can, but I do have other things that I do as well. Like a couple weeks ago we were working on a wooden lantern that we received from Jay in the UK as our Secret Santa gift, and that was awesome. I loved it. So I may have to do something like that again fairly soon. And then today we've got a couple of brick heads in Lego and a non-Harry Potter themed gift purchase to work on. So that's something exciting. The white one. There we go. This one. So far, so good. And good morning to you, Mama Bear, and to, I never know how to pronounce it. Is it Saslayer or SA Slayer or SAS Layer? I apologize, I'm never very good at this. I should remember to write notes. I think I figured out how now, but I should actually write myself notes about this. In any case, we have little pieces. 1 and 2. Stack them up. And thanks heavens the bot part of me remembers to say hello to people. Because the real part of me does not very frequently. I am noting that these just are not square and they don't want to twist in my fingers. So I'm just going to grab a couple of the brick separators and just use them to add a bit more leverage. There we go. Hard for you guys to see that. We know what to do, but then it ends up ugly. So we'll just take it till you make it, right? This way. That in there. Wow. Yeah. Lighting is terrible. I apologize, everybody. That is awful. See if I can quit this program. Quit. Don't know. Just don't know. Not entirely sure what's going on. When you get the properties of your camera doing not responding, that's not good news. And I put this in the wrong spot because I wasn't paying attention. Oh, huh. There you go. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened to the Champion the Hill thing. Seems to be a little fussy. It turns out that after the third or fourth reboot of my computer, that Oswin just worked. For those of you who were here last week, Oswin had some teething issues, I suppose. His underlying bot structure decided that it was just not going to play. And so while I was playing Foundation, Oswin did not exist. Which was, you know, all well and good. I mean, it's normally not a problem. Until I didn't realize, hours later maybe, that Oswin is also the device that auto shuts off my stream at the end of stream. And I got far too comfortable having him do that. And then I went to log out for lunch like an hour and a half after I'd finished stream. And realized, oh, hey, I'm still streaming. So it was interesting. Come on, get in there. Why will you not? There we are. Oh, haha. Let's go put this one in backwards. Okay. Apologies, everybody. I'm going to take a tea break for just a split sec here, because obviously my brain is not working when I'm putting pieces in the wrong spot and other pieces on backwards. Bane. Yep. This is probably the most dreadful camera I've had in a while, which is awful because it was fine last week. I don't know. Not entirely sure what's up with this. Okay. Perfect. Can you... buy this? More. Grainy. I'm not sure if the lesser of two evils, maybe? Yeah. Greedy probably versus Fuzzy. Not entirely sure what's going on there. Why do I have gain on here? Oh, that's why. Camera control. Would you please autofocus a little better? I don't know what it's got going on its issues today. Usually we have exposure problems, but today we have everything. Whoa! My side lights just decided that they were way too bright, and they decided not to cooperate. That's okay, I suppose. Don't know. Anyway, we'll go with it. What you're seeing is far brighter than what I'm seeing, by a serious margin, so we'll just have to cross our fingers. Yeah. Alright, so we got this piece stuck in here finally. Let's go over here. Chat for the win! Yay! Yeah! I know! Isn't that... bigger video. That is really, really weird. I don't know why it's just doing that. Okay, so we've got better focus up there, which is kind of strange. Okay, come down here. All right, that's actually going to drive me crazy. What do we do about it? Let's back off the zoom a little bit. Maybe it's the brains aren't working today. Yeah, it doesn't like anything. Okay, not sure where I want to go with this today. We're going to build the thing nonetheless, but we may not actually get into the second one if this first piece looks terrible. It's just the way my brain's working at the moment. Actually, hang on a sec. I'm just going to deactivate this one for a minute. Properties, and we'll see if I can get a different piece of software to control it. That might actually do something interesting, maybe. Very odd, because it was nicer yesterday, or last week, I guess. And the only thing I physically changed was the mount. Go figure. 1080p, angle and frame. Boom. Yeah, even on its official branded software, the camera's being dumb. And I'm not entirely sure why. That's just weird. For all the black screen guys, that's really inappropriate. Ooh. Resolution is being really dumb. Okay, so can I doesn't want to cooperate nicely. Okay, so we're just gonna have to go with it, I'm afraid. I told it to be 1080p and it just does not want to do that. For one thing, these cameras, or these lights, being dumb. Turn this on. Break. Now I can see. Okay. Better. Okay. Shadows, but we'll go with it. Okay, so you guys should be able to see what I see at least. This. Wow. White balance chaos. Figure video. Brightness. Yeah. Okay, well, cross my fingers. What do we got? Can I get in closer? No. Okay, fine. That's fine. Alright, I'm just gonna go with it because we don't want to be here all day. So, suffice to say, actually I guess I can go a little higher, then we don't have the black on the edges. So, this was where the hangman showed up. I'm gonna keep that for later, just in case you guys want another hangman. We've got this piece, and it has a printed panel and a none. So I will see if this will refocus. Yeah, so that looks nice. And it's nice and solidly printed. And when it comes down here, it's on the piece. Oh. Forgot I had that. Okay, never mind. Alright, and now flip it over. Okay, upside down. And it wants two of the little tiny pieces. Level everything out. I'm not sure why they would do that instead of a 1x2. There may be a reason, but maybe it's just a textural thing. I swear I don't like Windows. Because today is just being a pill. Let's see, Lego. Okay. I did ask for feedback, a little bit on the content. If you guys have a moment and happen to be Discord users, feel free to drop a comment in there about anything to do with the stream. Just let me know what you think. Because it's one of those things that every once in a while I have a huge itch to freshen things up a little bit. And that includes my attitude and stuff. I'm actually working on that separately. But want to freshen stuff up a little bit for stream. Got some tweaks to do, you know. So anything and everything is fair game, including commenting on my tardiness. That's fine. But that would, anything and everything would help, you know, just to give me a bit more direction and focus. Without further feedback, I'm still considering various different things about how I do stream. Oh. I'm fussy. This piece here where you can see the injection molding point, and I hate that. So I need to undo it. There we go. Aha! There we go. Discord. Yay! I'm not sure if it took that input twice, or if I'm not sure if it took that input twice, or if it was just happens to be a timer for that one. Because I did not trigger that by saying something. That's one. We can actually figure out how to put this back together without instructions. Yep, got it. Okay. Now we don't have an injection molding point sticking out on the front. That bothers me. Alright, so it's always good to hear things. And the other part of it is just that I'd like to try to figure out where I want to go next. Did I? Okay, so it does end up upside down. That's fine. We go right side up again. And on the top, we are putting these. And I need the wedge. This is a Quidditch themed build. So for those of you who are familiar with Quidditch, you'll know what I'm referring to, but for those of you who may not be, long and the short of it is that Quidditch is a Harry Potter world-themed, Wizarding World-themed game, sport, involving flying around on brooms, and driving Quidditch. You know, you see it in the films, you see it on the TV clips, you see it on the video game clips, because there was a recent Quidditch game, where they basically, it was trying to be like Madden in the skies. But long and the short of it is you see three people flying around trying to actually play a game and pass a ball. And then you see two people being tools and or defenders, where they are trying to smash the other players with rather dangerous, in essence, enchanted cannonballs that are flying around trying to hit you. The balls don't explode, but they just try to hit you. And so there's people that have to defend against that, as well as redirect it to the other team. And then there is a couple of players that you will basically never see on the field, for the most part, because they are off in the La La Land trying to catch something smaller than a mandarin orange. And And the thing about the game that I find the dumbest decision in the way it was designed is that the official game of Quidditch does not, or has a way that if these players, so everybody's running around doing a lot of fussing and stuff on the main field, pardon me, but if a lot of these players don't manage to get 15 goals, because each one is only worth 10 points, if they don't manage to get 15 goals, then the Seekers, as such, who are flying around up above them, looking for this orange-sized snitch, can find the snitch, win the game, and the whole thing's over. That's it. Done. So everything that the guys on farther down have done becomes uselessly moot. Sometimes in my head I kind of go, well, if you've got that going on, why bother even showing up to the game? Right? I'm sure somebody would be able to tell me from a sporting point of view why that sort of thing would be the case. Why it's worth, showing up and trying your best and all that jazz. But it does seem kind of dumb if in a matter of, it could be minutes or seconds, this thing flies like crazy. But that the whole game could be over and all the stuff you did was for nothing. Like, I don't know. It just would not be a motivator for me. I could never be a Quidditch player. Not in a serious sense. Oh, I see why they're doing this the way they're doing it. Okay, and I put the wrong one in the center. But we only have one. Okay. No, I guess I got it right. We'll see. The whole point I was trying to figure out why this central section is different on the various different statues. And this one has to be different than the other one because we need something to hold on Harry's glasses. I think that's what they were doing, is building the mount point. It's basically the bridge of his nose. They don't really have noses, but this one needs a bridge to hold up the glasses. Okay. We have a Lego piece that has places for studs, but it doesn't actually do anything, it just slides in. Like, it just... That seems a very odd decision for Lego, but alright. And I tried to move that thing with my mouse. Yeah, it is a bit odd. I don't know what they're thinking, but we'll figure it out. Now we're on to the brain box. This one. Then they have a sandwich of a yellow piece. And then the pink. Like I said, it's always like a brain that they put in every time. And then we surround it with the other gray blocks. Headz, for the most part, are not a super popular thing for a lot of builders. I can see why they're fun in a statuesque sense. Skipped a step, didn't I? Okay. Yeah, I could see why for a lot of builders that they could be appealing, and for some other builders they may not be. Small piece I expected to be on one side that turned out to be on the other. There we go. Brain box. And now the bits. Yes, this other one is just slotted in as well. Like, it can come out just as easily. I don't quite know what they're trying to pull, but Lego be Lego, and Lego do what Lego wants, right? So anyway, totally see it. Some of the characters look great. I think these ones looked great on the box. I have to see how the Harry turns out. Cho looks pretty good so far. But some of the characters are ridiculous. I've seen a brickhead, I think it was the brickhead of Dobby, that looked awful. Dobby the little house elf. Okay, we've got this weird piece. What's a printed bar with a scar? Okay, it's not that one. It's this one. That goes over left side, okay. So, just showing you guys real quick. See, that does have a print mark on it. Love it. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really, really, really wanting to do the other Lego today. So we'll see if I'm just going to go with it anyways or not. I don't know. Once we get out of the green mat, that might help. We'll see if the contrast works any better. It is cute. Yeah, I'm glad. And I'm glad it's a printed piece, not a sticker. I mean, it sounds funny. It shouldn't be sticker given the size of it and the placement and stuff. It's somewhat critical. But I've seen weirder. Sometimes they've had clear stickers before with that you put onto regular pieces. And occasionally I wonder if the cost of materials and effort to do that is actually more expensive than just printing it on the brick, but I'm not entirely sure how the process works behind the scenes. I got a book for Christmas about Lego, so I'll have to see if that tells me anything. It's like the Lego story. I know it's not about the movie, it's actually like the history of Lego, as far as I can tell. But it's just, I have to sit down and actually read it. And I've just got a bunch of things. I said, okay, well, I'll do that after I do this other thing. And this other thing hasn't happened. Okay, so now it's Harry's face. We'll do some surgery. Oh, and what did I miss? Oh, I want me to put on all the accoutrements of his hair and such first. Okay, so we've got some curvy bits this way. And two going the other way. One and two. That's an interesting choice in the hair direction. Usually you get a split like this right-hand side one over the scar to make it more visible, but they did it the other way, which is kind of nice. I mean, it implies a little bit of control on the part of Harry as to how he holds his hair or wears his hair. This one. And I guess he needs to have eyes. You know, the eyes have it. There's one, and there's two. They're a little crooked. But that's okay. I didn't put them on straight. Just eyes. Nobody's eyes are perfect in real life anyway. Let's go this way. Slide over, and snaps on. Now they've got the weird plush section underneath locked in, so it's not going to slide out. But that was a bit of a strange decision. Side. No problem. No problem. Take all the time you need. You know, for like mods and stuff, you guys are always welcome to come and go as need be, or as interest dictates. So I love having you guys here. You know, I love having everybody here. It's awesome. It's awesome. But I want to earn it, not have anybody feel guilted. So yeah. Anyway, Lego. I hear there's been some hiccups on the Diecraft 73 modded server of late. I know some of our players have had some challenges with things crashing after they did one particular item. So we'll see what the state of things is, but I'm thinking I need to head back there and actually do a bit more of that. We may temporarily shelve Foundation. We'll probably be back to it because I was enjoying it a lot, but I recognize that if I don't do enough of the Minecraft stuff, then even on modded, you guys don't see a whole lot of progress, and that drags everything out. So we're probably going to do that. I'll check into what the state is of the server, see how stable it appears to be, and see if there's any more AFK stuff that I need to do. It did not, for some reason, have a reboot on the server until recently, as in like the setting somehow got disabled. But I am told that that has been re-enabled, so AFK check-ins are a little bit more critical for me than they used to be. So I need to take a look at that, see where we're at for materials and stuff, and try and gauge what's coming up next. Yeah, that's really all you can do, is your best, right? Yes, that's up there. The curve is catching some of the light, so I apologize for that. We've got some more detail, it looks like, coming up. But anyway, so we're probably going to chill a foundation a bit for more Minecraft. I will have to update the schedule for this week and see how it goes, but yeah, we'll see what we can do in there to make some progress. I'm toying with a lot of different ideas right now. I've got a lot of stuff in my head, which is actually partially why I'm so distracted. And it's not about being busy. I just have a lot of different areas that I'm obsessing on all at once. And that can be incredibly unproductive at times. Okay, so the key in this one is they wanted the little yellow strip to show because, of course, it's the golden lining for the coloring of the robes. And that goes on Harry's back, because it's the hood to the robes. And then now we're on to the other side of his head, I believe. This one and that one. 1, 2, 3. Well, to some extent, it's easy to sort Lego by color. Sometimes sorting by piece is useful, and mixing it up amongst the colors. I'm not very good at sorting things that way. I have a lot of Lego just kicking around loose at the moment because I need to rearrange my office. And but I do need to sort things, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it. Sorting by piece at the moment is something I don't have room for, but when I'm putting them on the desk to actually do them, do the builds from a bag, probably could sort by piece. That would make sense. But once you start get it rolling, and you get the number of pieces starting to decrease, it's not as bad to find the one you want. There we go. I will say I've never built a design that's been made by, like my own creator and then sell the design, kind of thing, like a mock or a rebrickable or something like that. I've never actually built one of those. So someday I'll have to figure out that kind of plan and what I would do with all the pieces, because plenty of the creators that we follow are into that sort of thing and have made their own designs, and even Dadcraft has been working on off and on one that's done that way from another set of kits, and I'm not sure if I would be crying all around, so to speak, of about not being able to easily find the parts or not. I'm not sure. Like, I thought I had an opinion on what I would do to pre-pick things, but frankly, I don't know. Like, if I've never done it, I don't know how annoying it is. I know how annoying it is and how long it takes when my kids are trying to build their own creations, but then I don't necessarily agree with the way that they've got their Lego quote-unquote sorted, because it's kind of not. I mean, sometimes it is. They say, I don't have the right part, and I don't know if they do or don't, based on all the pieces that are still in the this needs to be sorted bin. There are some limited things my kids have said, yes, you can sort my stuff, but because they're becoming slowly teenagers, those permissions are slipping away, as kids do. So I'm currently in a headspace where I've been bold about some things because I didn't ask and got bit for it, and then in other things, after having been bit for a completely unrelated area, I am overly shy and don't want to touch anything without asking first. And I get really strange looks, as in like, why are you even bothering to ask about that? Or why do you even have an interest in that? And they're understandably at a state where they seem to assume that because I'm asking, that I, like, for permission to sort it, that I'm wanting them to do it, and then that for them it's just one more hassle. So we're still working out that whole how do you communicate with a teenager kind of thing. And that's I shouldn't say standard, but it's a common parenting challenge in life, is for people to have to figure out how do you communicate with kids who are, in essence, becoming a different version than they were when they were younger. At the same time, you know, we as adults are still shifting ourselves, right? Nothing is static. Nothing's perfectly static anyway. So, that's the latest in our house. I tried to get them to clean their rooms last week. Fantastic Shot Clocks got stuck with a lot of that because I can be a nag at times. At least that's how the kids seem to perceive it. And so I tried to help where I could. I offered things, you know, hey, your trash can looks kind of full. Do you want me to empty it for you? And they're like, no. Okay. Do you need the recycle bin? No. All right. You know, something's happened. It takes like 3 hours or whatever. I said, do you need me to just like sit and be in the same room for company, even if I don't even talk to you? Like, you know, ignore your existence? And they're like, no. Okay, cool. That's fine. Did things get done? Like, to where I had hoped they'd be? No. But that's kind of my own, I guess, fault. I shouldn't say fault, because I'm not responsible. What I mean is, I think I may have had the sights set a little high. On the other hand, I'm not entirely sure that I'm feeling all that guilty about wanting things to be in a cleanliness state where we can vacuum all of the floor, not just portions of the floor. You know, that would be nice. I would like to be able to have things in a state where one can theoretically open the closet doors. And it's not about the stereotype TV thing, you know, where everything gets shoved in the closet and you open the door and it's all going to fall out. Our kids don't do that. Well, haven't yet. But it's more that they don't want, I don't know, they just don't want to clean stuff off the floor. So they're using walls and corners and things to go, well, the center is clear, you can actually get places. Because my old excuse used to be safety factor, so that we could actually get across the floors to their bedroom windows. I don't know why, but I have a bit of paranoia about fire. Not that our house would be on fire, but that, you know, people need to have their bedroom doors closed at night and need to be able to get to their windows, and anybody can with an escape route without stepping on stuff and Lego and things. And that was where it started. So they accommodated that, but they also did just that. So that was the first thing that cleaned up, and then everything that's in the side is heavens knows what piled up, or had heavens knows what piled up. My daughter did a very good job getting her cleaning done. It's not where I'd want it to, but for how messy it was, it's leaps and bounds ahead of where it used to be. So I decided this morning, I care. I really do want it finished. That said, I think I'm going to get off her hide for a little bit, provided that things keep moving on their own. I don't mean that I'm going to leave it alone, but keep moving in a positive direction, or in stasis. I mean, like, it's at a point where technically if stuff actually stayed the way it is right now, I wouldn't be overly annoyed. That said, I don't believe it's going to. You know, that's the way most parents are. We don't often believe our kids. So, yeah. But that's part of why I want to get my office rearranged, too, is because it lets me feel more comfortable in my space, quote-unquote, where I'm 100% the one calling the shots. And when somebody says this is messy, I'm the one who's cleaning it up, rather than someone else cleaning it up, or rather than someone else, being there, whatever. So, yeah, that's really all it is, too. It's part of why I want my office cleaned. That, and I have some tweaks physically to make to stuff. I keep saying I'm going to change this space that we're using now, so that I don't have to build on the same place I use my computer for. Gaming, you know. there's really only 2 studs that snap this guy onto his base, and I find that kind of weird. Okay, so here's the full Harry Potter. And actually, that's not bad. Yeah, I quite like that. And I understand why some of the studs on the sides are still visible. In a lot of the heads,
Ads
they block
are starting. Dylan will continue the conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
I have no idea if that's accurate or not. Twitch does what Twitch does lately. Okay, so anyway, here's Harry. Now, I'm looking at the lighting. It's not ideal, but it's not terrible. So I'm going to go ahead with the other set. But we will ditch this green, and we'll go with the black for a while, and we'll see how that goes. So, this is a good time for you guys to do a stretch, a walk, refill your drink, all that kind of jazz. And we will be right back.
Welcome.
Well, I remembered everything except the stream title. That's fine. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure why that code failed to do that. I mean, it's changing things, So if I look at the, where is it here? Champion, did I not have? Pilchamp. Pilchamp is definitely saying Fantastic Sherlock Fox, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. Why is the message not working? That's the thing that I don't understand. That's wrong. So the fight message is just saying Ryan Butt. Not entirely sure why that's doing it. I'm going to have to take a look. We've got the bot partly back, but I'm not sure why the fight message is busted. So there's supposed to be so much more to that. Anyhay. Anyhay? Yeah, there's the word. Anyhay. Close this. So as you can see on the screen, we have a different one. Yes, I don't know why we're fuzzy. Yeah, not going to deal with this. Escape bot. What do we have? Hangman. Old. Yeah, I'll have to figure out what I can do with that. Let's see. Back up. Do I have streamer bot old? No, I do not. Okay, so it'll take a little bit for me to troubleshoot that, but I can say that will be back for Wednesday, one way or the other, even if I have to write it manually from scratch. So we'll figure out what we can do. In the meantime, apologies for the odd state of the camera, but we're going to go with it. We have a gift with purchase, a lovely tropical rainforest diorama, and we're going to get started on this one because we have about half an hour. It's only 299 pieces. Of course, the brick heads are much smaller. But we'll grab the cutter and just jump on in. Now on the bright side, I mean, we don't have the cool full set, interactive version of the instructions, but we do have the PDF courtesy of LEGO, so we're going to go with that. Now what have we got in the box? Assuming we... Oh. Okay, yeah. This one. We have bag 1. Okay, that's what I'm going to need. 2, 3, 4, and it is a little booklet. I'm going to set this aside, and we'll put that 2, 3, and 4 for the time being. Start with bag 1. We do have black. Boo. Okay, well, black on gray, we'll cross our fingers. I'm sort of washed out today, and I don't quite get why. No. Focus, would you just please? Yeah, it's auto-focusing up here when it should be down there. I don't know. I just about had it with these cameras in general. So, first things first. Let's start, color-wise. Let's start with this one. And we need a little green smack in the center. I have to say that this back. This back. Yeah, I look like I'm wearing makeup, which is not my normal style, because I don't. our makeup. That's just the way the coloring worked out. Fox and I will have to attack this one. I don't know. It used to be nice, and now things have gone fancy places in a handbasket. Okay, we'll go there another day. So it looks like we're just making the base. You guys are seeing teal. I actually have proper green. So what you see on the little screen is actually what's going on. So I'm not sure what the coloring issue is. I'm assuming it's a white balance problem. So, sure. Whatever. Come on, camera. The saturation thing is like all frozen out, so there's something is fighting with this camera. And I'm not entirely sure what it is that's fighting with the camera that makes it do that. Excuse me? I did not ask for extra zoom. Thank you. Back to teal again. Okay, you know what? Wednesday is not Lego. So we'll go with that. Yep, it's fine. It's fine. So we're going ahead because you know it's distracting. But we got Champion of the Hill mostly back, and I'll figure out what that is. I know now what the problem is. I just have to figure out where the solution is hidden. In one of my old pieces, something has gone sideways and given up the ghost, and I don't quite understand why. But you know, life's like that, right? I said in chat when I started that I wanted to refresh things, and this is a good impetus to do so. It's not just frustration with things being old. It's just wanting to make things feel a little different, a little new, a little bit whatever. Outside of what you guys see, we have this week in Scouts. This week in Scouts. It's almost like a news segment. We have the kids supposedly started to work on what we call the Scout trucks. So as I talked about last year, this is like the Pine Car Derby stuff that some people may remember in the US. In Canada, we have a level per age group, I guess. So the youngest set get to do, we call them beaver buggies, and it's basically a wooden block with wheels on the side, and they stick a particle board beaver in it vertically, and then they get to paint the beaver. And then in the middle section that my daughter aged out of last year, at the end of last year, we do cub cars, which is basically Pine Car Derby. That's really what it is. It's like virtually the same thing, although it's not always pine, but you know, that's how it works. And then at the section that they're in now, we do Scout trucks, which is 18-wheelers. So they're a little bit bigger, definitely more complex, and opportunities for creativity. So we're starting work on those this week. I don't know if our kids have actually had that sink in. I'm going to try and mention it to them after school because both of them like to be able to think about their designs in advance rather than getting blindsided. Partly because they prefer to work on them at the meetings rather than at home. We usually end up pushing for them to do some at home because their designs are creative enough that they don't all fit into being done at a Scout meeting when they're vying for power tools and stuff with the other kids. But we also don't like the mess at home, so you know, the more they can get done there by being pre-planned, the better. Didn't I? Just did that. Turn it around. So I'm looking forward to seeing what sorts of designs our kids come up with this year. In previous years, I mean, a lot of kids just do, quite literally, a long haul truck type look, and then they just paint up the sides and call it a day, and that's fine. That's totally awesome. Just about every year I've said, hey, I want to do a yada 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 thing, because the scout leaders can do them too if we want. This year, I don't really know if I want to. I mean, I've got a lot on my plate, mentally, that I think I'd be biting off more than is necessary. And I would end up being disappointed with myself if I didn't finish it. So I'm not really going to do one this year. Some years we have, you know, and scout leaders can do theirs, what do you call it? As we like, so we don't have to follow the full rules. A lot of us usually choose to, but we don't have to follow the same rules as the kids, because the scout leader one is sort of so unofficial that it's really just a fancified show and shine. And so with the kids' vehicles, there's limits to weight and length and height and so on and so forth. And they're not allowed to alter the wheels on the bottom of the set anything more than quite simply just getting rid of burrs and stuff in the original molding process. But they're not allowed to actually make alterations. Whereas leaders, if we really want to, we can do all sorts of things, from cambering them to shaving them down to painting them up to, you know, and I mean, it's kind of not fair, but on the other hand, we're not racing against the kids anyways. Supposedly that was deemed unfair. I don't know if it is or not, provided that the scout leaders follow the rules. On the other hand, we do expect that the kids do their own trucks, all vehicles. I mean, if they need assistance with a particular tool, that's one thing, but we really don't like it when there's evidence that parents have basically done the work for the kids, and that the kids actually had no input, or even if they had input, that the parent just does it. So at least at this age level, the 11 to 14 set, they goodness gracious, they usually do it all themselves. It seems to be the age at which the parents tend to back out, as well as the kids often get snotty about parent involvement. So it's good to see that they're doing more of it themselves, but then it also kind of comes up with things where you go, as a leader, what particular influence made you think that design decision was going to work? And then we have the odd ones where some that just, you discover that there's a teen who can't handle a hammer. As in, quite literally, they do everything from choking up right up onto the head, through to missing entirely and then being annoyed about the fact that they've dented their vehicle, through to some of them are scared enough of hammers, quite literally, that they will ask another youth to do that part for them. Like, we see all kinds. We see all kinds. And that's, I guess, fine. It's just surprising sometimes, because it's the sort of thing that we don't think about. You know, like in our generation, and it is a bit of an our generation thing. A lot of us grew up, you know, playing on the playground or the playfield in such a way that we would grab a rock and bang two things together and stuff. So we have experience of various different basic tools like that well before we're adults. I can understand not being familiar with, say, a screwdriver potentially, especially not what type of screwdriver works best for certain things. But I don't know about you, the number of times that I've used a what do you call it, like a butter knife or a letter opener to undo a screw so I could change a battery is crazy. You know, like, it's really high. So I'm sort of surprised that a lot of these kids have never done anything like that either. So it's always a nice thing, and I think it's part of why we do this activity, is not just the creativity and the fun that the kids have out of being able to build their own vehicle, like their own vehicle model, but for some of them, that's what gets them their life skills of these very, very basic tools. You know, so when people joke about, like, one of the best, and I would agree actually with this advice, even though it is sort of corny, one of the best moving away from home gifts, sort of like a housewarming to a new person who's moved away from home for the first time, gifts that you can get them is a very basic toolkit. But, and there is a caveat to this. Oops, come on, autofocus, please. Maybe, maybe not. Interesting. Okay, we don't have autofocus on that. How does that work? Where am I here? There we go. Overhead, red. So, we do not have, like, when you... Oh. Huh. That's weird. There, maybe. Maybe? No. No, yeah. Properties. Let's kill this. Quit. Press one more time. Do we have any opportunity to tell it to autofocus, please? That's weird that it isn't. It used to. Oh, figured. I'm really confused by the number of things that are falling apart at the moment. Okay, what are we gonna do about this? Q. Yeah. Give me a split second, I'll be right back, and then I'll be with you in just a moment. Nobody knows why, but as soon as I transitioned scenes and then came back again, it chose to autofocus. Anyway, so where I was going with this is, yeah, if you get a toolkit, they're great. My caveat on that whole toolkit comment, though, and there is one on there, is to say that real tools. What I mean by that, I mean, there's these, like, these? There we go. There's this notion of, what do you call them, like apartment-sized tools or condo-sized tools. And truthfully, those are a waste of your money because they're small. Yeah, they get into tiny places, but you can't get the leverage you need to actually do much of anything with them. I mean, yes, you can hang a picture, but it's going to take you 3 times as long if you use one of the cutesy apartment-sized kits versus just getting yourself a small reel hammer. One of the problems with that is that these kits often have like not just shorter handles, but they're short and stubby compared to the size of the head of the hammer, so you don't get any leverage. Often the tools materials are softer, so I've seen ones like that where you end up with a quality issue on your screwdriver, for example. So I've seen ones where you didn't end up stripping the screwdriver head. No, you stripped and reformed the head of, you stripped and reformed the head of the screwdriver rather than damaging the screw. Normally it's the screw, people complain about that. It's sort of, how do I get it out now? But the low-end screwdrivers, you'll actually round off the screwdriver, which is not very helpful. So it's a matter of quality, which unfortunately precludes, in most cases, the availability of sets in, say, artistic pink or something, if you have someone who's much more into the matching tools kind of world. You know, match with their decor or their personal taste or whatnot. I mean, there are good ones. There, you know, that does exist. But it's just a matter of finding them, right? And there's some things that people would never think of, like a cordless drill is super, super handy when you're living in an apartment, because you may not always have appropriate access to, power. Or sometimes a cordless drill that you can use as a power screwdriver will save you tons of time, particularly if they're a new person going out and they've got, say, an IKEA shelving set. Now, although I don't necessarily support modifying tools, like the actual main tool, I have seen plenty of people who take the Allen keys from an IKEA set and they hacksaw off the L-shaped bend so that they just have a straight piece. Then they can put the straight piece in their drill and assemble their furniture in seconds. Well, not seconds, but I mean minutes rather than like an hour. And that is a huge boon when you're dealing with an apartment, particularly if it's a rental, because it makes it so much easier to assemble things, and then when you go to move, you can take them apart. So it's a huge, huge savings. It would be nice if we could buy, straight Allen key sets for power screwdrivers and stuff. I don't know why they're not as easily available, but yeah, like 1/4-inch bit driver stuff is not the scale that IKEA works in. They need to be custom for themselves. Okay, this is... Take a look at this previous picture, because something... I was going to say I forgot to put on a step, and yeah, clearly I did. Because I should not have that many clear ones, and I paid far too much attention to the gray stiff shapes and less about the translucent shapes. Okay, these are fair to be spare. That's fine. Number 2. Just changing the color temperature of my lights a bit. Hey, it's green! What the heck? How'd that happen? Well, sort of green. We're getting there. Alright. So, bag 2, what do we do? This is one of the things I like about the interactive ones over the PDFs, is that with the PDF, not only do you have to find the bits, right? Like, parts you... Oh. My lights are weirdly green. Whatever. This is kind of orange, and this is kind of blue. We get what we get, I guess, and we don't get upset, maybe? These. There we go, that's better. My room lights are kind of warm. Alright, so, we need this part, and then we need one of these little bits. But it's taking me a bit to figure out where pieces go, so I have to be careful with this one. Just because I don't always see where the little outlines are, whereas on the interactive ones, they blink, which helps a lot. We have ourselves a waterfall going on, which means we now need to build the height of it. This one here, and this translucent bit here. Okay. If I didn't do anything wrong, then that should be the way it goes. 1, 2. It looks good so far. The wrong parts. I'm looking for this one. A 1x1 gray light. Maybe up here. great. These. Yeah, like it's great to give people tools they can use right from square one. The other thing I've discovered, not personal experience as such, because we were pretty good at returning things, but a lot of parents will commiserate with this one, where if you do loan the kids your tools, don't expect to get them back. It's not that you will never get them back, but it will not be in a timely manner. We moving out, all of us, I would say, are generally notorious for distraction during a new move-in, and sometimes more mess than we originally anticipated with all the stuff going around in our houses and such. And so we may not actually get things returned on time, and things get lost in the shuffle for a little while. There we go, Gridfinity for the win. So it's nice when they have their own set, because then they don't have to borrow as much, or at least they don't have to borrow things we're more likely to use. Oh, actually, Fantastic Show of Clocks is super handy as well. I learned a good bit from my dad, so I do have my fussy preferences, but for the most part, Fox is really, really good at the handy stuff, which sometimes surprises me, but yeah, he's good. And between the two of us, we work well together as a team in that respect, in that sometimes when we need a quick solution, between the two of us, we come up with some pretty good ideas. Usually he's the idea guy as well, but every once in a while I'll come up with a flash that's useful. We recently had an issue with underneath our dishwasher because it leaked on us, which was not pleasant, of course, because it leaked in its ceiling and things. I don't know who thought it was a smart idea, but they put the electrical wiring for part of the electrical wiring, or just the water? I can't recall. But anyways, there was a hose that went under the dishwasher down through a hole in the floor to go across the ceiling and then back up through another hole in the bottom of the cabinetry, rather than just like coming out of the dishwasher, going across through the side of the cabinetry straight into where it needs to be. So they thought putting this hole in the floor was a smart idea in the hardwood. Well, of course, if your dishwasher leaks, it's gonna find the hole in the floor. And that's what happened, and we were not impressed. But I mean, between the two of us, we were pulled out the dishwasher, we were trying to figure out what to do short term, and we got everything shut off and stuff, and the bit that was clogged, we cleared that just in case that was the problem, but no, it wasn't. And then we figured out what pan to use underneath for a while. We realized we had a water flow sensor from an old water heater problem that we had. Like, I mean, we put one on the ground because this other thing had leaked and did not need it at the moment. So we brought the water flow sensor up from the basement and put that under the dishwasher. So that worked for, like, I mean, worked, but as in that got us through the panic moment while we could get a repair technician in. So it's things like that where, when it comes to little disasters like that, I'm also good at running around and finding towels, the scrap towels. We have some that we called the dog towels. They really, truthfully, were not dog towels, but there's old towels I used to use as a kid going to summer camp and stuff. So they were getting kind of scrappy, and that's why we used them on the dog. But now they just kick around our house as like scrap towels for our mudroom, or if you get a spill on the floor or something like that, those are the ones you can use for those sorts of things, because they're scrappy and junky. But the funny part is, because we've called them dog towels for so many years, when I suggested to my kids that, hey, why don't you take one of these as the camp towel when you're, needing at summer camp, we needed to have towels with us on our trip so that we could actually dry our hands at camp and stuff. And the kids are like, no, that's a dog towel. And it's not. Trust me, my maiden name is written on the corner because we had to label everything for camp when I was a kid. But nope. No go. It took a bit of convincing. I think one of the kids took one of those towels, and then another one took a different one of our things. Yeah. Ew! Not a dog towel. And the thing is, I mean, we've washed them, right? Obviously. Who wouldn't? But our dog passed away in the first year of COVID shutdowns. We haven't had a dog since. We still call them dog towels, but I can guarantee you this far in, we've used them for enough other things that they are no longer smelling like dog no matter what you do. But once an association's been built, it's difficult to undo, and that's the same thing for me as well. I mean, that's part of where it came from. I had an association with summer camp for these towels because they're the ones that never matched anything, and they're butt ugly, even by 80s standards and 90s standards. So they were perfect to send to camp. And my mom said, yeah, they don't match anything else. They're starting to get a little raggedy. We'll use that. So that's my camp towels, right? Because if something happened, and even though they were labeled, they never came home or whatever, it wasn't a huge loss. So the fact that I have them, like 20 some years later, is kind of amusing that they're still around. But yeah, so they became dog towels because, you don't want to use the ones that match everything else on your dog, in case the claws get caught or something like that. I do miss said dog though, but can't win everything. Impressive. Yeah, well, though there was one, I had a summer camp story about me that was kind of silly, but there was one year that I was oh so proud of myself because I saved up my money and I went to the mall and I bought myself a t-shirt. And I think it might actually have been like, Walmart or something like that. But anyway, I was not into buying myself stuff. Generally, my parents didn't approve of, getting, I guess, unapproved things at that point. They were a little bit hardcore in that respect when I was young. But anyway, it was the whole, going to the mall with your friends. So I bought a t-shirt, and I actually loved this t-shirt, and I wore it a lot, and so on. And I took it to camp. And I came back, and it was labeled and everything. I came back from camp. And weirdly enough, in my laundry, for some reason, I had 2 of them. But the other one was not labeled. So we never did figure out who it belonged to. So I accidentally stole some of the kid's t-shirt from camp. Yeah. I mean, that's why you label things as a parent, right? So that this sort of silliness doesn't happen. But yeah, I accidentally came home with 2 of them. My kids have never done that because we've never sent them to sleepaway camp. And at Scouts, usually we are pretty... In some cases, the leadership recognizes whose stuff is whose. And in other cases, we just kind of go, is this yours? No. Is this yours? No. But if there are certain things, of course, that we don't even bother putting them in the lost and found pile. Because they will not get claimed. Now, if they're labeled, we might be able to get stuff back to the kid. But there's certain things that, for some leaders, even if they're labeled, if it ends up in the lost and found sort of stuff, we will not return it. And you can probably guess what types of things those are. Well, funny part, if people will recognize them, we will return socks. That's not as big a deal. I mean, yes, they stink. We don't really want to touch them, but it's more the ginch or underpants. We just do not want because, yeah, if you've lost as a younger youth, little ones, or the little ones, you don't know the state of them. And this other part of it is if the kid has lost control of their luggage to that extent, then there is something to be said for a lesson to be learned. The other reason we don't do that is because frequently when we, approach a kid and say, hey, is this yours? They're almost always in company of their friends, and you just don't want to embarrass a kid by talking about their underpants in front of their friends. And I can't blame them for being uncomfortable with that sort of thing. But the way I look at it for myself is if it's very clearly, labeled in the waistband or something, and you can surreptitiously give it back when it's not a big public deal. Like, dude, just letting you know, you left these on the floor. And I wouldn't necessarily even have to touch them. It's sort of like buddy, you left a pair of such and such on the floor. Please go clean it up. Excuse me. They usually do pretty well. So, there's times you don't want to give things back, and there's times you do. Give me a second, I'm a little scratchy. Time check, 5 minutes in. So we have approximately 5 minutes. I'm going to go to the top of the hour. We will not get this one done, which gives us a little bit to do next week. But we'll have to see what we're going to do after that, because I'm pretty sure it won't take the whole time. And we have, at the moment, nothing in the wings. I keep talking about doing a wooden build, but they're not as popular, so we'll just have to see. And depending on how progress starts going on Minecraft, we may end up switching to Minecraft for a while, and then going back to having Lego or whatever the other build is, being once a month. But I appreciate the time check. Thank you very much. It was funny, I was having a conversation in Dadcraft's stream the other day, or last week, I guess, about stupid numbers of points. Now, I understand mods will build up points here like crazy, but I'm pretty sure that some of the other people who watch this stream on occasion probably have a ridiculous number of points in here, because there isn't a whole ton that we have that really gets people interested in spending their points. Hence the biggest fan and so on and so forth climbing. So if anybody has any ideas of something they'd like to see or like to do, or a way to drag those points a little bit lower, please do let me know. You know, that goes in with the other feedback category. We could use some more feedback. So yeah, but we're working on stuff and ideas and whatever. It's just, once again, freshen up. Okay, let's go this way. Excuse me. I cannot promise anything about the state of the cameras, but I can promise I will try and figure out the Champion of the Hill, because that's one that is a little bit of fun. There we go. Besides, it's currently rigged for Fox, which is totally not intentional, and I want to see if I can figure out why that is. Not to rig it against Fox, just try to make it a little bit more fair. Two, three. Oh, great, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Neat. I can see we've got a little bit of a waterfall thing going on. I like that. Pretty cool. We're just about done this step, so I'll probably go just long enough to finish up this bag, and then move on. What do we got here? So this one. There. Timing. Exactly. Exactly. I'm taking the opportunity post our kids' spring break to try setting my alarm a little bit differently. In terms of what I remind myself to do when I remind myself to do it. There we go. And we'll see how much that does or doesn't help. And it's not just about being late, but it also is about headspace. Because if I can do a little bit of a chill out thing before stream, then that might help a bit with where we're at. I mocked... there we go. I mocked Fantastic Sherlock Fox a little bit with regards to having speaking notes for his streams, things he wanted to talk about. But I'm starting to second guess that and wonder if I should do the same. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? I quite like this build. It looks really cute. It's going to look great on the shelf afterwards. It may not be on my shelf, but it's going to look great on a shelf in our house. That would be fantastic. We are going to find someone to raid right at the top of the hour for a change. And see what we can do. It just so happened it worked out that way. It is live currently. Back to the builds. I think we're gonna go to Jade. She does Minecraft and then a little bit of Lego once in a while. She is more awesome than a handful of nipplers. There you go. And yeah, we'll see what she's got to do. It says back to the builds, a truly bedrock. So I'm not entirely sure what she's doing, but the thing that she's got right now looks kind of like a bird had a baby with a hairdryer. So we'll just have to see what's going on. In the meantime, I want to say thank you to everybody who came by. So this is where we've got to on this Tropical Rainforest gift with purchase. We have finished up the Harry Potter Brickhead, which partnered up with the Cho Chang Brickhead, so for those of you that wanted to see both. And yeah, sounds like this is where we're at. Wednesday will be Minecraft, one way or the other. So until then, modded Minecraft, I'm afraid. Until then, have yourselves an absolutely wonderful day, and let's get this raid to Jade started. Button press, there we go.
Mischief managed.
Mischief managed indeed. So, thank you very, very much, ITT Tom, for the raid. I very much appreciate that. Thank you also to Mama Bear and Fantastic Sherlock Fox for being our moderators today. And we had good conversation from them, as well as Yellow, Tom, Lass, Slayer, Metalhead, and we're off to see Maribel Jade. So, until Wednesday, have a wonderful day. I will see you on the flip side for a little bit. Bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.